Either that, or he had D'Angelo Russell on vacation in Cleveland. He was in the whole same hotel room outside the door with the recorder.
Too soon.
Yo, what is up, guys? It's me, exactly, back bringing some more daily NBA news and highlights. You already know that we got a few things to talk about, so let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. Lego. Yet another fight broke out in the NBA yesterday, just one day after the Houston Rockets went into the LA Clippers locker room looking to pick a fight with Blake Griffin and Austin Rivers. That sent the NBA world into a blaze, but this fight might have done just the same thing once again, and it was a fight that no one saw coming. Bjelica versus Afflalo. I myself don't even think I said either one of those names in the past couple of years. Anyways, almost midway through the second quarter, you see Bjelica trying to crash the boards. He bumps into Afflalo from behind, which should be a foul on Bjelica, but it's nothing serious, just a typical common foul, and stuff like that happens all the time. However, the next thing you know, you see Afflalo take a serious swing at the guy. Like that was a Hail Mary haymaker. If that punch would have connected, Bjelica probably would have been in the ICU right now. But luckily it missed, and with that much force and momentum behind a missed punch, Afflalo was left defenseless. Bjelica then puts Afflalo in a headlock and holds on for dear life as teammates and refs try to separate the two players, and of course afterwards both were ejected. Some people don't think that Bjelica deserved to be ejected since he was just acting in self-defense. What he did was just human instinct. If you got someone trying to knock your head off with a right hook, you'd probably try to immobilize them just like he did. And after the game, Bjelica spoke to the media about the incident and said that he was just trying to protect himself. He doesn't want to seem like the victim, but what he did was in self-defense.
First of all, I don't want to feel like I'm a victim here. I mean, that's everything like part of the game. But you know, he took a swing on me, and I was just trying, to protect myself first of all, and to help him. I mean, to calm him down, because he was wild. I don't know what's wrong with that guy, but. And at that point, I mean, if you attack me like that, I just have to protect myself or my family, and everybody who knows me, they know I'm like calm guy.
And Aaron Afflalo, on the other hand, was unavailable for comments after the game. And there is no doubt in my mind that Afflalo will be fine, and on top of that, probably even suspended for a few games as well. And even though Bjelica might not deserve it since what he did was just defending himself, he will probably catch a fine too for being involved in the fight. And that's what I want to talk about here for a second. Is all this fighting that's been going on the past couple of days actually good for the NBA? Should there be more fighting in the NBA? I mean, just looking at it, these past 2 days has been some of the craziest in the NBA season thus far, which gets a lot more people talking about the NBA and brings the NBA more exposure, which is good, right? I mean, people who don't normally watch or even care much about the NBA are talking about what's been going on. People who might prefer other sports like the NFL, since it's more of a contact sport. This might pique their interest and get them more into the game. Because let's not kid ourselves here, it's like human instinct to be drawn to watching something like this. When we see this, it gets our blood pumping, it gets us excited, it makes us talk about it. It's entertaining, and that's what the NBA is supposed to be, an entertainment business. The more entertained people are, the higher the ratings, so that's another positive for the NBA. And if that's the case, then why is it that the NBA frowns upon fighting so much? Why do they have such strict rules for players who are involved in a fight on the court? But the thing is, what happens when there is too much fighting or too extreme of fighting when someone actually gets hurt? That's what the NBA is scared of. Just imagine for a second if a fight were to break out more often, like every day, every other day, at least a few times a week, you see players starting to scrap. It would seem kind of ridiculous. Every once in a while, like it is now, I mean, that's fine, because when it happens, it gets people amped up. If it happened every day, people wouldn't even bat an eye when a fight breaks out. Instead of, oh, did you see this? Did you see that fight happen? It would become, can't these players control themselves out there? I don't even have to say it. If a player actually were to get injured in a fight, that is no good at all, because they most likely won't be able to play. So the way it is now is probably the best way if there actually aren't fights in every single game. As much as you might like to think that would be good for the NBA, and that's good because it shows these players are tough, are big and strong, whatever else you want to call it, you get sick of it. You would get sick of seeing these players try and fight. You just want them to go out there and play the game. And that's why the NBA has to punish them the way they do. That's why they go to the players, they'd be like, you know what, thank you for boosting our ratings for the day, but where my money at. While we're on the topic of fighting in the NBA though, let's get a quick update on the whole Clippers-Rockets situation. The NBA is still investigating the incident, but updates have said that it seems Trevor Ariza was the main guy who insisted on going into the Clippers locker room while Chris Paul and James Harden were both trying to stop him, but not really. Let's be 100% real here. Those two guys probably wanted to go there just as bad as Trevor Ariza did. They might have made it seem like they were trying to stop Trevor Ariza, but they wanted to be in that locker room too. And how on earth would Trevor Ariza know the back entrance to the Clippers locker room? How would he know that? Chris Paul had to show him the way, didn't he? But like I said, the NBA is still investigating into the incident, so we can expect more reports to come out over the next day or two. The player who is used to being snubbed got snubbed once again. I feel like Damian Lillard is going to go down in NBA history as a great player who never got talked about. And as sad as it is to say it, as much as I'm going to hate to see this happen in 15 to 20 years, I feel like most NBA fans won't even remember who Damian Lillard was. Yesterday, ESPN released this graphic congratulating Lauri Markkanen on becoming the fastest player to ever reach 100 threes. He did it in only 41 games. And also in this picture besides Markkanen, you see guys like Stephen Curry, Dirk Nowitzki, Reggie Miller, and Michael Jordan, which is cool. It kind of gives you a scope on how much the NBA has changed just by looking at this one picture. But they forgot someone. If you just look at this picture and didn't know anything else, you would think that before Lauri, the fastest player to ever hit the 103 mark was Stephen Curry, who did it in 58 games, but it wasn't. It was Damian Lillard who hit the century mark in only 44 games. And that made the Blazers respond to this tweet by saying, congrats Lauri, but Damian Lillard had the previous best at 44 games, but is not pictured here. And Damian Lillard also replied to this tweet with just a facepalm emoji. The man gets snubbed from his own achievements. How crazy is that? Isaiah Thomas brought an end to the saga that no one cared about. For those of you guys that don't know, Paul Pierce is set to have his jersey retired by the Boston Celtics on February 11th. And of course, who are the Celtics going to play that game besides the Cleveland Cavaliers? And what will be Isaiah Thomas's first game playing against the Boston Celtics since they traded him? And with that being the case, the Boston Celtics decided, you know what, let's play a tribute video for Isaiah Thomas on that game too. And when Paul Pierce heard about that, he wasn't happy at all. He doesn't like the idea of Isaiah Thomas getting a tribute video the same day he's set to get his jersey retired. He wants the day all to himself. So ever since then, he has been on national TV trying to bash the Celtics, bash Isaiah Thomas, and trying to stop this thing from happening. He even went on TV again yesterday saying, Danny and I talked about it for 40 minutes. He told me, this is what I have planned, and at the end of the conversation, he said, if you don't want us to do Isaiah, we won't. So I told him, I really don't, and that was it. That's how we left it. Thomas had a shot to be honored. You came to Boston. Whether you are playing or not, you should have had your tribute then. I just don't see how if someone's having a jersey retirement, they're going to be running other tributes for other players. Danny tried to sell me on it, but I told him he had a shot, Danny, and he punked you on it. He pretty much dictated everything. They let it happen because they felt sorry how the trade went down. It's guilt. That's what it is. If this was really a video that was going to be played out of guilt, then if I was Isaiah Thomas, I wouldn't want the video played. Don't give me a pity tribute video. I don't want a pity party. But Paul Pierce going on national TV and saying it was going to be a pity video, calling Isaiah Thomas a pity case was kind of low. And I guess after hearing this, Isaiah Thomas had enough as he put an end to the whole thing on Twitter. I'd like to thank the Celtics for their gracious offer to play a video tribute on February 11th, celebrating my 3 years in Boston. But since it appears that it's caused some controversy with Paul Pierce tonight, I'd like to ask the Celtics instead to focus all their attention on number 34's career. Props to you, Isaiah Thomas, for being the bigger man in this situation, because after all this fuss that has been created about this silly little thing and Paul Pierce coming out on national TV and saying it was going to be a pity video for you anyways, I would have felt like I needed to snap on somebody. Rajon Rondo, on the other hand, when he was asked about the situation, he kind of gave one of the more unfiltered responses. He just blew the lid off the whole thing. Rondo was irked to hear that the Celtics would honor Isaiah Thomas on any night. What has he done? Rondo asked. Told that he led the Celtics to the conference finals last year, Rondo remarked, oh, that's what we celebrate around here? This is the Boston Celtics. This isn't the Phoenix Suns. No disrespect to any other organizations, but you don't hang conference titles. Do we hang going to the conference finals? What do we hang here? Title banners. Rondo was told, okay, cool. Rondo said, as harsh as that might have sounded, he wasn't really wrong. He just kept it 100% real, but didn't use a filter or have any regards for anyone's feelings in the process. That's gonna wrap up all the news and stuff from yesterday. Though let me know what you think about all of it down in the comment section below. But now real quick, let's take a look at the games from last night. Well, Celtics fans want Anthony Davis so badly, and they got all of him last night, maybe even more than they could handle, as it seems like Anthony Davis has finally awoken this year. After his monster performance in his last game against the Knicks, where he scored 47 points and grabbed 17 rebounds, Davis pretty much duplicated the exact same performance last night against Boston. 45 points and 16 rebounds for AD in the Pelicans' 116-113 overtime win over the Celtics. This is the Anthony Davis that we were used to seeing when everyone had him pegged to be the next best player in the NBA. He was doing stuff like this on a nightly basis, and it really is starting to seem like he has found that same groove again. So if your favorite team plays against the Pelicans anytime soon, I'd watch out. Devin Booker dropped 43 points last night, and ain't not a single person talking about it. Partially because Anthony Davis dropped 45, partially because of the fight that went down the Wolves game, and partially because the Suns still lost this game. This man balled his heart out, and the Suns still lost. That's crazy, but then again, not really, since they also lost the game when he dropped 70 points. 118-111 the final score. Damian Lillard wasn't too bad himself last night with 31 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds. Lastly, the Nuggets beat the Mavericks 105-102. Nikola Jokic with a monster game of 29 points, 18 rebounds, and 7 assists, while Dennis Smith Jr. scored 25 for Dallas. That wraps up all the action from last night, though. Don't forget to vote for the player of the day. Just remember, the only players whose team won are eligible to win player of the day. And yesterday, you guys selected Giannis Antetokounmpo and his 27 points, 20 rebounds, and 6 assists as your player of the day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the new episode of The Dish. Links will be down in the description box below. Smack that like button if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel to join the quest to 200K. Hashtag a million in a year, as well as stay up to date with everything that goes on in the NBA on a daily basis. But until tomorrow, keep getting the buckets to my seat, and I'm out of here. Peace.